Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be discussing how you want to implement exercise into your daily habits. So, number one thing is that consistency is key, which means that if you do about 3 hours a week, that's probably a good place to start if you're trying to maintain a healthy weight. So whether you want to break that up into 1 hour, 3 days a week, you can do it that way. Or if you want to do a half an hour, 6 days a week, that also works as well. But you need to hold yourself accountable. So different ways that I do that with myself is I'll time block. So I'll look at what's going on in my day and I actually schedule it in my calendar to hold myself accountable because these are the goals that I said that I wanted. Another thing I use to hold me accountable is alarm clocks. Sometimes if I get really busy or I get distracted, I want to stay on track with what I said I want in my life or the results that I want, so I set alarm clocks to help keep me on track as well. I'll use an app, like a habits app. There's a lot out there. It doesn't matter which one, whichever one works for you. And I put a little check mark in that box. And you can be very specific as to how many days per week using certain apps that you want to develop this habit. So if it's for 3 days, then that's the goal that you set for yourself. Then you want to make sure there's at least those 3 check marks in those boxes for that week. So those are different ways I hold myself accountable. If you have other people in your life that's on the same journey as you and has that same goal for themselves, it makes it that much easier to then have an accountability partner that you can work on this goal together. So consistency and accountability are key. From there, you always want a variety in your workouts so that you keep your body guessing. Because if you have the same workout, and I hate the word routine because to me that implies you're doing the same thing all the time. But variety is very important in your workout. So whether you decide to do interval training like HIIT workouts, high intensity interval training, or you want to go on a run, or you want to take a spin class, bike ride on the beach, dance, martial arts. There's many different ways to get that in, and that's up to you, and that's fine, whatever makes you happy and you enjoy. So just make sure you have that variety. And another thing is there's different approaches to that. So you can constantly have variety like weekly if you want, but also if you are more of a creature of habit and you kind of like a workout for a period of time, that's probably okay if you do the same workout maybe for a 3-month interval, but then change it up every 3 months or so, or change it up every month. Don't just resort to running for the next 5 years or something like that. So keep the variety there because your body will adapt and you don't want your body to adapt. You kind of want to trick your body so it doesn't adapt. When we work out, it affects all the hormones in our body because when we work out, it affects our brain. So I'm going to go in a little bit more detail of how it affects our brain and what kinds of workouts affect what areas of our brain. And I strongly believe our brain is the core to any of our results that we want in our life and where everything starts, including like our motivation or determination or fill in the blank, whatever you want, it starts in our brain. And so our mind and body are extremely connected in this way. And I'm going to demonstrate how exactly. I'm going to explain a little bit more. So for example, let's say you're lifting weights. That focuses more on the prefrontal cortex here in the front of your brain, which helps with complex thinking, reasoning, multitasking, and problem solving. Another thing that helps with your prefrontal cortex is things like sports drills right here. And it helps with attention and switching between tasks and inhibitions, which also come from the basal ganglia, which is more in the core part of your brain as well. So it affects both those areas. It also affects your parietal lobe, which is kind of like this back half of your brain right here, which is like your visual and spatial processing. It also affects your cerebellum right down here in the base of your skull, which helps with attention. If you do aerobic exercise, that helps in your hippocampus area, which is great for your memory. It helps improve your memory. Your hippocampus, once again, is deep inside the core of your brain. And if you do HIIT workouts, high intensity interval training workouts, that helps in your hypothalamus. That also is in the core of your brain in the middle. And it helps with your appetite regulation and cravings and things like deals with addiction. So all these things are being regulated. If you start implementing yoga in your workouts as part of the variety, that helps once again with the frontal lobe, which is more on the front half of your brain right here, and as well as the insula, which is in the core of your brain in the middle. And that helps to integrate your thoughts and emotions, as well as it works on your amygdala, which is in the core of your brain, and that helps to regulate fear and anxiety. So if you see, all these emotions and thought processes are affected by your workouts. So it behooves you, if you want the best life, you need to take care of yourself. You need to work out. And all these things affect relationships in your life. And when I say relationships, I'm talking about all kinds, whether it's work relationships, parent-child relationships, romantic relationships, friendships, etc. You're the core of all the outcomes that you have. So when you're regulated, it just makes these things in life much easier and more efficient, and you don't have to struggle in various areas. So another thing that's very important you want to pay attention to when you work out is that you're sweating. If you're not sweating and you're not making it hard enough, it's not really going to benefit you that much, especially if you really want to see results. You know, what you put into it is what you'll get out of it. So the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out much faster. So you determine your own timeline and your own goals that you set, but just, keep that in mind. But a workout's really pointless if you're not even sweating at all. So make sure you're sweating. Another thing is, when you're working out, you need to make sure that you're still able to talk. So if you're working out too hard and you can't talk while you're doing it, then you're working out too hard. And it depends also, once again, what your goals are. There's your heart rate being in a cardio zone or fat burning zone. So it depends on what area you want to improve. You may want to improve both. But typically, if you're out of breath and you're working out that hard, your body is actually more focused on strengthening your cardio and your heart, making that strong, and actually less on fat burning. So when you can actually talk during your workout, you're probably in the perfect fat burning zone. So once again, that just depends on whatever your goals are, what zone you want to be in. A lot of people want to have lower amounts of fat because ultimately that could reduce other health problems in your life, like hypertension and diabetes and so many other things as well. But really, having too much fat isn't good. Having a little fat is healthy and it's okay. Just if it's in excess, that's where you can actually impede on things like your memory, like mood control, when you don't work out. Everything I mentioned before about the areas of your brain that are affected during your workouts, well, those are the same areas of your brain that are affected if you don't work out. So just keep that in mind as well. You'll start noticing that you might be feeling happier in life. Your mood will go up because it's affecting all the hormones in your whole body. Everything's processing better because your brain is where all your hormones start. So if you have any hormonal imbalance, it starts in your brain. And exercising helps regulate that. So if you have mood problems, if you're a woman and you have issues with your cycle, it all helps get regulated through exercise. So that's probably one of the number one things I would definitely have in your new habits checklist. And if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. If there's anything in addition that I missed that you'd like me to discuss in further detail, I'm happy to do that as well. Feel free to leave your comments at the bottom, and I will see you in my next video. And remember to subscribe and like.